Hello YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montes, and welcome back to the Movie Archivist, everybody. And in today's video, it is officially June 30th. It is the final day of June in 2026, and that also means tomorrow is July 1st, and this upcoming weekend is July 4th, America's birthday. And as you guys know me, if you're new to this channel, for people that are, already been on this channel for a while, you know what this video is all about. But if you're new to this channel, essentially, today is, if you don't know what this stream is about, basically, every 6 months, I do a live stream, basically discussing of what has been going on in my life, outside of what I review on movies and all this stuff. And then, just to kind of give you some insight on what I have been, experiencing throughout my life, any fun events I've been going to, any fun things I've been doing, and then also, just personal thoughts on things in school, which I am allowed to share certain things because, that's just how I am. And then I'm also going to share my favorite movies at the end, and then I'm also going to go over, my New Year's resolutions that I, created for the year and see what have I accomplished already. So, I'm probably going to do a lot of the editing stuff later on, after the stream is done, because I kind of just want to talk about stuff. So, with that said, I think we'll just go ahead and we'll get started talking about January. So, and also, if you want to know, when you can, see when I talked about a certain thing, there's actually, a chapter marker people can go to, well, not a chapter marker, but you can look up where and when I talked about it in the AI system that they have in the comments. There's a section for you can switch to it, and then it'll say, when does he talk about January? When does he talk about February? You can just do that. And I probably could create my timestamps there from there. So with January, it's interesting to talk about because there's a lot of stuff going on. Coming back to school, my birthday, and all this stuff. So let's talk about what was going on after the last few days of winter break. So I'm going to be honest, the following days when it came to winter break, I was the last few days of winter break when it came to the New Year's stuff, I was having a hard time going to sleep. And I think it was because I was trying to, for the first part, I was trying to finish these videos for my end of the year lists. And, it was taking a long time and I kept procrastinating. So I had to keep doing it late at night. And I believe on the last day of 2025, which was December 31st, I didn't go to bed until 5. And I think I woke up at maybe 11, 12 p.m. the next day on New Year's Eve. And then, and what's also crazy is so much happened that day that I decided to invite a friend over for New Year's because I'm we weren't going to go out, and I want to at least know what it's like to spend New Year's Eve or with a homeboy or whatever, So of course that was fun. And then, so we stayed at my house. We watched Superman, we watched Furious 7, because, my friend didn't watch the new Superman movie yet, and he's also on a Fast and Furious run right now, because one of his friends told him to go watch it, and I also like Fast and Furious, so I'm okay, let's watch it. So then, so after that, we said Happy New Year, and then we finished the movie, and then he left. And then because the season finale of Stranger Things, I believe, came on December 31st, me and my sister decided to stay up and watch it. And what that resulted in me basically going to bed very late. Now, I could have chosen to go to bed after we finished the episode, but my mind had other things because I wanted to stay up. I wanted to keep going on my phone, keep procrastinating. And I didn't go to bed until 5 that day, and then I decided to wake up at 9, which was not very good. And I was very tired. I actually did wake up at 9, and I was trying to work out, and then I was just laying down just to watch a movie, and then I fell asleep. And I'm dog, This was supposed to be the day where I'm supposed to be pumped up, filled with energy, and yeah, this just doesn't feel like that at all. And honestly, like the that kind of stuff really hurt me a little bit because I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. I thought this day was supposed to be perfect. I was supposed to get my stuff done right. But my mom, she was a big help in all of this because we were going to the gym together during these days. We were keeping myself busy and stuff. And something else that kind of happened too was that I was having also trouble sleeping because even when I tried going to bed a little early, like at 1 or 12, I would be up for like 2 hours and not go to bed until like 4. And that would be terrible. It was terrible nights, if I'm going to be honest. So, and I honestly also started to get really nervous because as these next few days were approaching and coming back to school and everything, this is like the crunch time of like of senior year where everybody's getting ready for college and moving on with life. Well, obviously not yet because it's one more quarter left, but still it was a pretty big year because you're graduating, you're going to college, and you're doing all this incredible stuff. So, eventually I did get back to it. I did decide to rewatch Stranger Things, though at the time when I was stressed out and feeling weird about it, it probably wasn't the best time to do that, but I don't really care. So then and then also something I decided to do throughout the first, I guess, month or so of the year was to try to take a break from Instagram. That only lasted for about a month, if I'm gonna be honest, just because I was off it for like 2 weeks, and then got back on it, and it was so stress free, just to kind of see what everybody's about, and it was not that bad. So then, what happened with back to school? Honestly, so let's talk about the updates of my class. So if you remember, so first period, so I actually got some schedule changes, and also teacher changes too. I'll talk about that in a minute, but for my first period, so if you guys remember from last year, I had engineering for first period. And I've talked about that. This was a terrible class, not because, I hated the teacher or the work or anything. It's because I wasn't able to learn because there was no teacher, and the work was very difficult. Because I was placed in this class because I guess all the other classes that I wanted were full. I originally wanted weight training for first period, and they didn't have it for me. So I had to be put in this class, and I was like, okay, at least the first few weeks or so will be fine because there's not going to be any teacher. And I'm like, wait, so the teacher that was originally for this class retired? Okay, that's fine, I guess. But then once the school year started getting into motion, like once the first quarter started to get into full motion, there was a teacher next door that wanted us to start doing work, started turning papers in at home and getting them signed and turning them in, and then officially starting the work. But here's the problem: we don't really know how to start the work. Now, at first it was kind of easy because you're just kind of like making paper airplanes, and you're just making like whatever. But then you have to go on like these websites and this app, and I'm thinking like, this is so complicated. How do you expect anyone to like understand this? And like, granted, this other teacher, he has another class going on right now during this time in first period. And he's expecting us to do this stuff, but like, we don't understand, and we can't really ask him for help because he's teaching. So it's like, what on earth do you expect us to do? And it made it even worse when he tells us, and like, I understand the instructions that he gave it. I was following all of them, but it's like, you're not, like, I think you're just going through the whole thing, and you're not taking time just because you have 2 classes. Like, it's not our fault that we have no teacher. That was the other teacher's fault. He decided to retire on a new school year. But I guess it's also because there was like a teacher shortage during this time, and I think there probably is. There still is. But still, you can't really blame us for not understanding this. And it made it even worse where he decided to tell us to go to another like building, to another classroom, and stay there. That's our remaining class for the year. And I'm like, but why are we going to this classroom? And how on earth is this helping us in any way? And like my mom was getting all crazy on me and like go during your study hall and ask for help. Like, bro, then what's the point of doing this in class time if I can't even go to the teacher unless I have a pass? Like, it just makes no sense to me. And the similar thing happened with this with digital video with like a digital video class where like it's like a film editing class. And granted, I'm an expert at this stuff. I do YouTube videos and stuff. But the thing is, like, the process was so complicated, and each assignment had different due dates that, like one assignment I would be working on, it would be due that day, and so I wouldn't be able to finish, so then by the time it would be finished, it would be locked, and I would be out of time to finish it, so it's like, and I have to keep calling I have to keep texting the teacher, and he would not read his emails, he would not answer them, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, what am I supposed to do? And I failed that class. I failed that class, and I failed this class for those 2 quarters. And I'm just thinking, like, that really should not be held against me because, like, they should understand that it was hard for me because there was no teacher. So, how did I get this resolved? I actually got a schedule change on December 1st, decided to go to my guidance counselor, and he changed my schedule. So instead of having engineering, I would no longer have engineering for first period. Instead, I have math for first period. Same teacher, but it's now math for first period. And for my 7th period, I have weight training, which is the class I originally wanted for first period, but they switched me. So that all started when I came back from school. So then we get to 2nd period, which is English. And then, this. So as for this quarter, it was actually kind of interesting because for 3rd quarter, it was interesting because it was kind of the funnest quarter because I was learning a lot, but I was also like trying to do my best. And I feel like that's what made it kind of fun because, we were reading Animal Farm, and then we were also doing a project on Animal Farm. And I thought it was just probably the most interesting stuff because when this year started, I was having a difficult time trying to understand this class and these teachers with my English teacher because, I'll be honest, I was not the biggest fan of English when high school started because my first English teacher in freshman year, she wasn't here most of the time because she was, I guess, on maternity leave because she was pregnant. And then my other one in sophomore year, she was fine, but she seemed kind of annoyed most of the time. But I think by the end of the year, I actually kind of liked the class because some of the lessons were kind of interesting. And then, of course, junior year had the best English teacher. It was my favorite teacher of all time because it, taught life lessons. But this year, I feel like this was the year where I felt like the lessons actually became very interesting. And it's not just about learning life lessons. Like, you're actually able to come to a class and actually learn something. And in many ways, I feel like that is the best thing because the teacher, most of the time, talks to you. She learns from you. And she teaches you. And it's a great way to just get off your phone. I will admit, some things will be kind of boring. Like, I will be tired some days, but most of the time, I'm actually paying attention. I'm always on task, and there are some things that, are entertaining to just sit back and watch. And, because especially since, the first quarter, we were like doing like Beowulf and stuff, and it took me a minute to like kind of adjust because we did it in a different way the first time, and then second quarter we were just reading Hamlet, and I watched the movie, so I was actually a lot more on board with it and understanding of it. And then we get to like the third quarter. I watched the Animal Farm movie, but I was having a struggle on how to capture like the tests and the books, and that was the other thing that was so difficult about trying to do well in this class, because not only were we reading like some short stories in Animal Farm, but we were also having to do vocab quizzes and tests on the different chapters, and it was just a lot of things in between. But then also having to do a project by the end of the quarter, so I was low-key kind of stressed towards the end. But good thing was I was still doing good in the class, so I'm at least glad about that. And even then, the project was actually kind of stressful because I wanted to do well. I didn't want to fail. And honestly, by the time it was done, I felt so satisfied. Now, I'll talk about that satisfying feeling once we get there in March. But like the whole feeling, that whole thing of what happened after I got it done, I was in awe. It was just so good. Then we get drawing class. This class, I'm gonna be honest, is complicated because I at certain times I enjoy it when my teacher talks about what he does outside of school, where he talks about he goes to the Everglades and all this stuff, and he like takes pictures of all these animals and stuff, and I think it's really cool. But there's also times where I'm not gonna lie, I kind of pretend to draw just to keep myself busy and out of trouble. Now, because it's like there are some assignments that like just bore me, and honestly, I feel like my drawing skills ever since I had this class have become worse because I've had to learn all these different techniques, and it's just been bad. It's also kind of a boring class because it's like you kind of don't get to go to the bathroom whenever you want. Because we're in like a certain building of the school, we have to go to a certain bathroom, and because this starts after lunch, we have to like go there between a certain time, and so it's kind of annoying, to be honest. But I get the whole thing, even though I'm at least glad I don't have to deal with that anymore. But it was kind of annoying a little bit. But oh well. Then we get fourth period, and we have keyboard. This was a cool class. I wish I had more to say on it, but the thing is, we really don't do anything in there. The only thing we ever do is like play on the piano sometimes, or like do assignments online. But even then, we don't even play on the piano anymore. Like, we barely did. And it was a new teacher, so it's like, I'm assuming the only reason we never did anything was because he was new, and so he was just playing it safe, and he was just kind of behind. But also, just a lot of people never did the work for some reason, and I was thinking, all the kids just didn't do the work at first, or didn't do anything because we have no teacher yet, so how are we gonna do the work? And then basically like you realize, oh yeah, these kids don't care about this class. Like, they're just in here because they have to be in here. And yeah, so plus it also gets pretty loud. At first it was kind of quiet, but then it started to get pretty loud with all the like new freshman kids. God bless their souls. I hope they do good next year. Hopefully they get humble or something. So then we get fifth period, which originally is economics. And it is still economics, but not really. My teacher is no longer my teacher from the first two quarters. Now I have a new teacher who instead it says economics on my grades, but instead of economics, I'm actually learning stuff for entrepreneurship, which is like how to build a business. And I'm gonna be honest, when he was telling me this, when he was telling us this, I had a weird feeling about how this class was gonna go, because I'm like, why are we doing this class? Like, I just want to take normal economics. And I will say, it was kind of an upgrade for it, but also kind of a downgrade, just because on the one hand, I actually had a class with most of my friends. And so therefore, it was actually a lot funner this way, because in my original 5th period, it's kind of like you have assigned seats, and you weren't really allowed to sit with whoever you wanted, and and the Wi-Fi also kind of sucked. It was just not very interesting. But then you get this new class, and it's like you get a bunch of different people, and you get some friends. But at the same time, like, eventually some of those friends started to leave the class because they had to go to alternative school because their grades were not intact. So, yeah, it started becoming boring towards the end. But the first half was definitely fun. And basically entrepreneurship, we had to practice for like the certification exam, which did not even count towards our grade. So I don't even know why we had to do it. I don't know why. But it is what it is. So then we get my study hall. And I'm going to be honest, as like the classes, as I keep talking about them, I'm just going to instantly talk about how there's nothing interesting happening in these classes. Like nothing of the lessons, nothing of like new that's happening, just it's boring. So study hall, nothing new is happening. All it's really there is either I go to therapy because I go to do therapy sessions during that time, or I play Uno with my friends. But even then, I stopped playing Uno with them because I hate playing Uno with them because they're low-key weird and mean. And they mimic me whenever I get mad when I have to draw a card. Fuck you. I'm sorry. But yeah, but also study hall is just really boring. And even then, like, you can't even play games on the computer anymore because they, like, block all the sites. Like, they blocked Cool Math. Why would you block Cool Math? Like, when has Cool Math ever been, like, the harmless thing? Like, I would understand ChatGPT, but Cool Math, like, those are, like, educational games. Fun games at best. Like, you really don't want kids having fun at all. Like, come on. So yeah, study hall was just a bust. And ever since my friend left, who was here at the beginning of the year, yeah, like, the class was just not fun. And I honestly wish I could have gone somewhere else to do something else, but then again, I'm not the kind of student that goes places and stuff, so it's like, I don't do that. Though I wish I could have been like the kids that, got to go to classes whenever they wanted to. So then we get to weight training class. Well, actually, let me talk about a lunch first because I got lunch changes too. And a lunch is fine. It's definitely a lot more fun because, there's not as many people that I hate there or I was jealous of. So it's like, yeah, it's pretty fun. Gotta hang out with my friends. And then this leads into weight training, which at first glance, it is kind of fun and entertaining sometimes. But most of the time, weight training is a complete bore. Because there really isn't anything to do. Like, you're either in the weight training room, just sitting, relaxing, or you're out in the basketball court, playing basketball. And, there would often be times I would work out, but sometimes I would be tired some days and I just don't feel like working out. But here's the thing that made it kind of very fun. So, in my friends group, and I say friends group because I don't know if I would consider that my personal friend group, but of my friends group of his friends, there's this guy, I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he'll be mentioned, but there's this guy that I have known since sophomore year that essentially we kind of started out as frenemies because, like, we had a few classes together in, like, for math and study hall, but we were never kind to each other. And I guess the reason why is because he thought I didn't like him because I would always clown on him and make fun of him. But I wasn't doing it to hurt his feelings or anything. I was just doing it because all of his other friends did it too, so I thought we were all just joking around. And so I guess maybe he took it seriously. And then I think by like junior year and senior year, we started to become a little bit of friends. Sure, he would push me whenever he would see me, or like, mess around with me or whatever, but he got a little bit better. And then by senior year, he actually kind of wanted to be my friend and be a lot nicer to me. I mean, at first when I actually started to accept him, he was like kind of rejecting it a little bit because I'm like, is he going through something personal? Like, what happened? But the thing, and I honestly had a hard time understanding should I accept him or not, because I really didn't want to accept him. But then I thought about the people that I gave second chances throughout my sophomore and junior year, and I thought, because these two guys in my junior and sophomore year, they were assholes to me in middle school. And so I thought, and honestly, I give them second chances, and they haven't really done anything since. There isn't really much to do since they've grown up. And I think that's the brilliance of it. They grew up. And they grew up out of those childish stuff. So, they're not dickheads anymore. And I actually get to talk to them like normal human beings. Probably not on a personal level. Probably not on the way I could talk to my friends where we're besties and all that stuff and we're best friends. But as mutuals, as little friendships or whatever, like, we're cool. So, I like that. Where, like, my friend that got redeemed in junior year, he asked me how my Halloween was. I kindly explained to him how it was, and I was waiting for ugly comeback to come back, and there wasn't one. And so that's when I realized, yeah, he's finally grown up. So now I actually feel comfortable to hang out with him and invite him to my birthday party and all that stuff. So it was like, that's what made it fun. And it's like, in some ways, for a little bit, life with that friend from the old memories we had, it's like, it felt good again. And like, I never thought I would have that experience with him, but I'm trying to explain it to all these different people, and they're not understanding what I'm talking about. Maybe some people for the first person, but this one friend I made in junior year, like, nobody understands what I'm talking about. And I wish they did. And I guess it's like they're just so used to him, for them, like, saying, mean shit, and like nobody's seeing it. Like, I don't get it. As for this one, like, the friend that I talked about it with, like, he actually understood what I was talking about, because I made it perfectly clear that he would be mean to me. So, what happened during weight training? So, throughout the year, for these last few months, we actually have, became friends. Where for the first half, he kind of just didn't really care about anything. Like, in the weight training class, he mostly would just sit down and just be on his phone. But then one day I see him go to try out the weights, and I was low-key surprised, because I'm like, how on earth are you going to do this? Like, you're skinny. Like, how are you doing this? How do you know anything about this? And then he started telling me that, like, his dad's, like, a personal trainer or whatever, and, like, that, so he kind of has some experience, and he does workouts, like, on his own at home, but if he doesn't have time to do it, then he'll do it at school. I'm gonna get a drink. And so, it just kind of made for interesting, like, conversations, which I'll talk about later on as we get throughout, like, April and May, because in many ways he was a big highlight of what made senior year bearable. And I'll also talk about something that happens with February and towards the end of January, because it was honestly kind of fun. Like, it was low-key fun. And being his friend was really fun. And then we also get final 8th period guitar. Once again, nothing interesting happening with this class. All the guitar stuff, I don't know a single thing about learning a guitar. I mean, I know a little bit about playing on the keyboard, but playing on the guitar, I don't know a single thing about. So, that's kind of how it is. Hang on. So yeah, that's kind of how overall school has been. And then, honestly, I was just trying to make YouTube videos and stuff and throughout the month of January. And then I went back on my Instagram 2 weeks after I was not being on it. The only time I actually did ever go on it throughout those 2 weeks was to post my sister's birthday. But after that, I didn't check any messages, didn't check any new feed. I just went to post my sister, and then that was it. So then, once I went on it, I decided, text my friends, do this, do that. Got some cool messages. There were actually a few people that were worried about me, which I thought was kind of nice. So, it seems cool that I matter, so I like that. And then I was even texting. I think my friend sent me a reel about something. I can't remember what it was about, but we started having a conversation about I think she asked me when my birthday was, and that's kind of how the whole thing started, where she was going to give me a gift or whatever. Which, by the way, she still hasn't given me that gift. And I basically started explaining to her that I don't think I'm going to have a birthday party this year just because I don't feel as close with any of my friends. And, I do feel sad about it, but I'm also just accepted it. But then I also thought about the contrast that, unlike her where, she got to do all this fun stuff with her and her friends, she also has never really had a birthday party before. She's never really done fun things for her birthday. And to be honest, I almost forget about that sometimes because it's yeah, she really doesn't do that stuff. And she really doesn't get to have that much fun stuff on her birthday. So now she might have one this year, but we'll have to see. But, it is what it is. So, yeah. And I guess what we can start talking about how my birthday was. Because as for my birthday, it was fun. Unfortunately, I did not have a birthday party this year, like I said, because I just didn't really feel connected with all my friends like I used to before. And also, my mom didn't really have enough money to, try to do it and pay for it, everything. So we just didn't do it. But what did I do instead of a party? I actually went to go to the movies, as I did before. And pretty much up until 2026 happened, pretty much this was the year where I actually went to the movies full time. It really started in 2025. Really. Most likely, because pretty much because 2025, I went to the movies starting in February, all throughout the months of the year. And then pretty much this past month, I've been to the movies every year, every month. January, February, March, April, May, it's been at the movies constantly. So with January, I first wanted to go to see the movie Primate with my sister, but this was 1 or 2 weeks before my birthday. But on my birthday weekend, I went to the movies with my family to go see the movie Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi, the new horror movie. Also, I know I haven't really talked about many of my favorite movies the movies that have come out this year. I know I've given a few reviews, and my review for Supergirl is going to come out either tomorrow or today, depending on how I feel. So yeah, Send Help was fantastic. I thought it was a great movie. And what's also kind of interesting that I'll talk about, I guess we could talk about throughout the whole thing, is that what made this year kind of bearable was going to the movies, where you go to January and you look back at some of the movies that came out. January was kind of an interesting month because there was actually some pretty good stuff coming out. Like, yeah, there was some forgettable stuff like Mercy with the Chris Pratt, phone screen movie, but the other stuff that came out, like the Wrecking Crew, the Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista action movie that came out on Amazon Prime, like that movie was great. And then you get Send Help, which was terrifying, which was a like gory movie, but it was also really funny and entertaining. And then you also had The Rip, that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck movie on Netflix. Like, there was actually good stuff coming out in the month of January, where that month is usually known for being a very terrible month for movies. And so when January actually started releasing pretty good movies, I'm like, okay, maybe I should be more positive on this year, because even if everything's not like perfect or great, I think it's still best to look out for certain things, because some projects you might be excited for probably won't work as well. But then even then, some of the things that you didn't even know about or heard about might even still be good. So it's best to keep your options open and not just look at all the things that you want. But even then, like, there was a lot, even though there's a lot of new things coming out, there's also a lot of the old things that we love. But even then, they're kind of doing new things that I'm actually interested in. So once I saw Send Help, and once I saw Primate and all these other movies, like, I was intrigued with what the year of 2026 for movies has to offer. Which I guess then leads us into February, which I'll talk about the good that came out with this month, not with movies, but with life. And that, going back to what I said about the whole with my whole friend thing from weight training, not only did this result in having fun with him, but it also resulted in having fun with my friend group that I would see in the morning before class and stuff in school. Because if I'm going to be honest, I had a lot of doubts throughout the years when it came to this friend group that I should find new friends, because these guys are just so immature. And it's like, not to say I want to be serious all the time, but there are right moments to be jokey and be serious at all times. And it's like, these guys just don't know how to figure it out, and they're not being friends that I want. But at the same time, it's like, the only reason I'm hanging out with them is because I don't have anyone else. But finally, there was a chance where in these last few months of school, of high school, where they were somehow able to mature. And I feel like that first week, kind of coming back from my birthday weekend and having fun with that, honestly, those few days, and especially it was cold, so like my friend would come in and give me a hug playfully or whatever. And honestly, I gotta be honest, like, coming to school in the morning was honestly kind of fun. It was also kind of entertaining. And I even commented saying, like, these last few days were like low-key, some like very entertaining and enjoyable. And I'm like, I can't believe it. Like this was so entertaining. But even then, like, one of my personal friends who I got from middle school, he started hanging out with this guy and this guy, two of my other friends, and I started to get, like, I almost got jealous a little bit, because I'm like, hey, wait a minute, they're my friends. You can't be friends with those guys. They're my friends. But then again, like, they're doing their own thing. But also, and I was thinking, like, I can't, like, I want, and, like, they have a whole group chat talking about D&D, and I'm like, I want to get on that, like, I want to be part of the group chat. But here's the thing. I know I don't want to be part of that because, one, I don't want to be part of group chats, because group chats are crazy, they're wild, they're weird, and I don't really have a good history with group chats. But also, they're talking about D&D, they're doing campaigns, they're doing the Stranger Things stuff. So I want to understand it. But here's the thing. Even if I'm not a part of the group chat or playing D&D or whatever, I know I'm still a part of the group because they still tell me about all this stuff. At least, like, maybe one or two of the friends talk about it with me. And even though I'm not a part of the group, I can still be talking about it. Like, yeah, not every one of us in our friend group is a part of the D&D stuff. But at least one of my friends updates me about it, and he even sends me videos talking about what goes on in D&D and how it all works. And I'm like, that's so fun. It's so interesting, and I'm like, and even and I like that it's not just a in class conversation. Like he'll it'll be after school, and he'll send me like a video like someone that knows D&D very well, and then like it's the POV of someone that doesn't know D&D, and I'm like, see, like why can't other friends do that? Like, just, you know. So that, in my opinion, was like a thing I really enjoyed. Though actually, I don't remember. I don't know if him explaining the D&D stuff was like later in the year or in February. I don't remember. But the point is, he did it. Not the new friend, but my friend that my old friend started to become friends with. I know it's very confusing. I just don't want to mention names. As for February itself, I was feeling very underwhelmed by all the stuff with the romantic season. I hated this month. I think the whole I thought I was gonna be okay with Valentine's Day weekend, but then I honestly just started to feel very alone, to where I started to see one of my friends. She got a boyfriend. She started to get a boyfriend, posting romantic pictures, hands, posting him looking up at him. Like, this shit is bullshit, man. Like, this is crazy. And then I decided to do the bravest thing, or really the stupidest thing, where I decided to go to the movies by myself. To be honest, I kind of hated it. I mean, I did it a second time this year, but honestly, I kind of didn't care. I think it's because, like, I was in a theater that I was, comfortable with, but even then, like, I just didn't care about the movie all that much, which was Disclosure Day. So, yeah, then, but my mom and dad made me feel better by getting me a little gift, so that was kind of fun. Oh, and also I forgot to mention the Super Bowl. I don't even know if I don't really want to talk much about it, but I thought it was really cool. All you haters, y'all just don't like respect on culture. So then the day after Valentine's Day, it was a 3-day weekend, so I got some extra time. So I was like, catching up on some Oscar movies and stuff like that, and so I'm like, okay, I need to like do something. And then right around, like, it was like 1 a.m. President's Day, I got the urge to do something. My friend recommended to me the movie Intergalactic, which was like this animated movie in the style of Spider-Verse, and it was like a romance, and it like takes place in New York. And I was always intrigued about the film, but I never had the chance to watch it. So I was like, you know what? I'll put all this stuff on hold that I want to do for tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and put on Intergalactic. And for the next an hour and 34 minutes or so, this movie was perfect. Intergalactic is probably my favorite movie of the last decade. It's definitely my favorite movies of the last decade. But also, it's like, I don't know if I should do a video essay on it, but like, there is just so much to come from it. First off, the animation style is fantastic. But also, the voice acting is great. And also, it's the kind of movie that makes you really want to fall in love. And so I feel like this movie kind of gave me some motivation in some way. So I'm like, yeah, I was like really intrigued by it. So I was, going to the gym and stuff and did all this stuff. So then the rest of the month of February, I thought was just kind of, it was fine. Nothing too crazy happened. Was watching some movies. Nothing crazy. And then March came around. Finally finished my project for my Animal Farm project. Got a good grade on it. Got like a A. It was like 2 separate grades. One an A, one a B on like the descriptions and stuff. And then for my reward for that, I went to go see the movie Hoppers, which was fun because It resulted in doing a fun thing where I would go see a good Disney movie before I head off to Disney World for spring break. And so yeah, I only went to school one day out of that whole week, that week after the project was due. But I went there during like the week before spring break. So yeah. And so yeah, it was kind of interesting. And then sorry, I'm tired. So then we went to so we go to Disney, and the hotel we stay at is Art of Animation, which is a hotel I haven't stayed at since like 2018, 2020. And I love this hotel. I love everything about it, and even going back to it was great. We stayed in the Little Mermaid section like we did last time. And while, of course, I love the theming, I'm not going to repeat myself of like every detail of it just because I've done it a million times with my friends. But there was something really invigorating about just being here. Like, I was giddy the whole time through. I low-key kind of just want to go back again because the hotel is just so layered with all the stuff I love of these Disney films. And I will say I am a little disappointed with the Lion King section though, because why on earth doesn't have a pool? Like, you give every other section a pool, but you just don't give it to Lion King. Like, you could easily expand that land a little bit more. I understand it's a walkway to kind of like ease the walkway to like make it a less calmer, like a more calm like section of the park of the resort, but like, it's Lion King, man. Like, this is the most fun. This is like the most fun area you could create a pool out of. But whatever. As I was staying there, I did notice a few things that were kind of icky. That like the room service was a little bit bad. It was bad on the first night, but overall it was fine. The food did not taste as great as I remember it. Because I remember I would eat like giant frozen vanilla pancakes, but for some reason they just tasted weird this time. And I guess they weren't made naturally. I don't know. And also, it just didn't, even though like it was fun, seeing all these people, going to the resort with my family didn't feel, I didn't feel they were as excited as I was. And I get it, you have to worry about the dog, you have to worry about this, you have to worry about that. And it's like, but can we just enjoy this hotel together? Like, come on. But we eventually did. We, went to the Disney parks and everything. Part of the difficulty when you're trying to go to all 4 parks for each day is you try to do as much as you can, but there's always long lines, and it's also hot out. We also have a dog to go to, so it's like, sometimes it's difficult. Like, I was complaining about going to, Animal Kingdom 2 times, and then I was thinking, I don't know if I should have done that, but then at the same time, I'm thinking, I think there's a reason why I prefer just going with someone else, and it's less stressful worrying about 4 people where you have to wait on that someone. It's like, it's better to just do it with someone else. It's better to just do it with just 1 or 2 people, or doing it by yourself, and that's it. Superficially speaking, it's a great, I saw the Zootopia show. That was fun. I went to Magic Kingdom. That was really cool. Though I didn't get to do a whole lot there. I then also went to Epcot, which was nice. But it was mostly a chill day because we were all tired. Animal Kingdom was fun, though I went 2 times. So, and I saw the Zootopia show. Rode Flight of Passage again because I can't do that ride because it gives me headaches sometimes. But I rode it and I had fun. Then I also went to Hollywood Studios, which in my opinion was probably my favorite part of the the trip, and I did something fun this trip. So I've been seeing a lot of news about this Toy Story restaurant, Roundup Rodeo, where it's like the whole thing is decked out in Toy Story like stuff. Of course, as I like Toy Story Land, I think it's a really cool land. Especially when you're going to the queue line of Toy Story Mania. I think that queue line is so incredible to look at. So much fun to just look at all the architecture and everything. But the problem with that area is that it's very crowded in the day. So, my mom kept surprising me that we were going to go somewhere, but it had nothing to do with food. Turns out it did, because we're going to Roundup Rodeo. And when I tell you, the architecture, the whole world of Toy Story just kind of felt like you were a part of it. It made you feel like you were an actual toy. And, like, it almost, and because they, like, have all these voice things that were going on in, like, the speakers and everything, it almost made you feel like you were a part of the timeline between the ending of Toy Story 2 and the beginning of Toy Story 3, where pretty much at the end of Toy Story 2, everything seems so perfect. Where Jessie and Bullseye got added to the group, you have Wheezy, Bo Peep, and all the other toys of Andy that he collects, and all of it just felt so unique, all of it felt so great, and it perfectly balanced of what Toy Story is. And honestly, like, when I start doing, like, all these other tribute videos for, like, the Disney parks, which I actually have an announcement for that towards the end of the video, like, I want to do one for Hollywood Studios. I'll most definitely be doing a tribute video for Toy Story, because it is an incredible feat of what Toy Story Land was able to do with building this whole world. So yeah, Toy Story Restaurant was great. They kept bringing us food in on end. All the food was great. They kept bringing us drinks even if we weren't finished with it. It was just insane. It was like joy overload. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. So yeah, like, I would most definitely say this was my favorite section of the park, of the trip, honestly. But unfortunately, after we left Epcot and pretty much we did all 4 parks, the trip unfortunately did not end there. Unfortunately, we had to stay an extra 2 days because we were driving on Saturday. We drove up to Gainesville for my sister's to go to my sister's college, because on April 30th, she was graduating, and she did graduate. She graduated from UF for education. And this whole time I was kind of thinking we were going to go meet with someone and, you know, get pictures taken. Oh yeah, also we took pictures for her graduation photos at Disney. I thought it was fun. And we were just there to look at the campus. We did not meet with anyone. In my opinion, I thought that was a weird thing to go to. I mean, we could have just done that, like, when we go for graduation. But then again, we weren't going to spend too much time in graduation during that time anyway. So, yeah, it wasn't the biggest thing, but whatever. So then, so I guess I was a little frustrated because I'm like, I'm coming back like midday. I was in the car on a Monday, just like coming back from the trip and I was in the car for like 7 hours because, Gainesville back to my home is like 4 hours and 30 minutes, but we had to go somewhere else. So basically it would have been like 5 hours I would have been in the car, or I think maybe just 4 hours. I don't know. But because I had to drive somewhere else to get my car back, we then had to drive 30 more minutes home. So yeah, I didn't get home until like 7. So it was really annoying. And I'm like, I don't have enough week anymore to do anything, even though I have a whole 6 more days left. So it was kind of annoying. But eventually I kind of get over it because there just wasn't much else to do. So then what I do for the rest of the week, I chilled, I relaxed, I did some other stuff, hung out with some friends, and then I want to go to the movies to go see Project Hail Mary with my sister. And then I guess that was the end of spring break, and then pretty much as soon as we came back from spring break, it was like crunch time, like getting ready for, college stuff, getting ready for like all this stuff. Also kind of funny that like usually my dad's birthday is during spring break, and for some reason that didn't happen this year. I don't know why. I guess they wanted us to like get out of school earlier. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't really care how long we're in school. I just want to be out of there. That's just how I feel. So then we then get to we started doing some senior events. I'm gonna be honest, some of the senior events that we did were very ass. We had like a senior brunch, and besides like the food and not having many friends there, yeah, this event just didn't seem necessary. We also had a senior pep rally, which once again, we had a pep rally the week before. And yeah, honestly, we had a pep rally like a month before that. And yeah, it was just not, like, it started out kind of nice, but then it just started getting repetitive, and I started to get like annoyed, and it was also really loud. But also, this event could have been fun if I was able to be sitting with my friends. But then again, I still probably would have gotten annoyed still. But then again, I also know that these pep rallies, not really my thing. I can't really even think of anyone that would actually record these performances, because even then, like, there's so many people coming around, so many people doing stuff. It's like, it is kind of overwhelming, but at least, there's not really much missing out. So, but at least I was participated. At least for the senior brunch, I got some pictures, and I wasn't just sitting there the whole time. So it was overall still cool. And then we then get to April, which was kind of a weird month for me, because I started out kind of stressed out because since November, my mom has been getting me on this thing for a job coach, on like getting me with one, and finally April 1st comes, and even though it sounds like a joke, I'm not joking. We got to do the job coach. Kind of, not really, because I now have a new job coach, which the first time it was an older woman, and now it's a younger guy. And we basically just start talking about, like, who am I, are you still a high school graduate, and how, some of these job stuff works. And yeah, pretty much up until then, I started getting really nervous, because I'm like, I don't know how any of this job stuff's going to work. I don't know how it's going to work. But honestly, I didn't have to worry much about it until after I graduated, because I didn't really go back to them a few weeks later, because really I didn't have anything to worry about with it, because they actually wanted me to just enjoy my last few weeks of high school. So they just waited until high school was over with. But as for the remaining weekend, which I enjoyed my last PSD day, so that was kind of fun. I also went to the doctor on that Saturday, which was not very fun for me, but it was a pleasant checkup. But then I also went to go see the Super Mario Galaxy movie that day, so that was fun too. And as for also, I spent my time during Easter. Easter was also kind of fun. And I kind of had I had some fun doing that. It was chill. We watched some movies all day. We ate food. Got some cool presents. Even though people don't normally do Easter baskets, which is something I kind of realize now. And then I also watched the movie Juice with my family, which my dad has been dying for me to want to see. And I honestly loved Juice. And then, what did I do the next day? I don't even remember. But overall, that weekend was actually pretty chill. And I was starting to get, like, kind of sick that weekend for some reason. Like, I started to get a sore throat. But overall, it was chill. So then we get to, I guess, the next week. And I guess we'll talk about, like, my friend's birthday. So there's this friend of mine who's been hosting birthday parties since, like, freshman year. And I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Mostly. I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with me. I normally don't care for them. I mean, I go to them and I enjoy them, but honestly, they're just very chaotic. And ever since he started including a water slide and everything, I just didn't like them at all. And because this was also the first party that where I probably was going to be seeing someone there that I kind of had beef with, I was thinking, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy my time here. So, kind of was hesitant on going, but I went anyway because I supported him. First off, he wasn't even there when I came, because I guess he was going to a job interview, which is cool. So it wasn't completely stressful. Then the people that I had beef with ended up showing up, and honestly, nothing really happened with us. Once we started to get, like, in the groove of things and just playing Uno and stuff, everything kind of started to calm down. And as soon as other people started arriving, which first off, there was the usual people that we of course knew, but then there was also, like, some other people that I didn't know. Like, obviously one of our friends that we are in the same Marine Club in, like, she came, which made sense because, you know, we've all gotten pretty close over the last year. But then also, he invites, like, one of my close personal friends, which I guess that this is a thing because, you know, they are kind of friends, but I always assumed their friendship was a joke because that's just how I perceived of it. But even then, I guess he always was getting invited, but he never, I don't know, like, I guess he thought I thought when he invited him last year he was joking too. I don't know. But my other friend came, and then, of course, the usual friend I made weight training, he came. And somehow there was, like, this shift in energy that came in this party where I had a headache that day, so I couldn't fully enjoy it, but it was kind of entertaining because you had, like, a different variety of people where you could go ahead and talk to, have fun with, but then you could also laugh and enjoy all the chaos that's happening. And I'm not going to join in on the chaos because it's too much. I can't do that. But there was something kind of interesting where it's like two of the jokiest people that I know, they were having fun, and we were also having some pretty cool conversations with one of my friend's uncles. Like, that's what made the hangout so cool. Is that there was a different variety of stuff to do. Plus, there was food, so it's like, you know, it was cool. But even then, the food wasn't even the best part. It was the quality time with these people. So I honestly had a fun time that day. And then, of course, you know, went to the movies again to go see, well, not again, but, like, I want to go see Michael. Saw it the first time, never understood the hate for it, but I'll talk more about that in the review section of this live, but had a lot of fun. Then I guess that following week, I went to Gainesville for my sister's graduation. She graduated from UF, but also my aunt and uncle came along from my mom's side, and we went there and supported her. Also started to come up with a sore throat again. Woke up one day in the hotel that we stayed at, sore throat, hard to swallow, and I'm like, what the hell? And yeah, it was just a weird feeling. And so then after my sister's graduation was done and stuff, we then went on over to Orlando to go to Disney World for Magic Kingdom. And like pretty much every Disney trip, it was fun. We got our fair share of Disney, and it was cool. And then that same weekend, the day after, I think it was like Friday or Sunday. It was definitely Sunday. Yeah, it was one Sunday. We went to go see Michael with my family. Because the first one I saw with my sister, but this time we saw with my whole family, and pretty much with all the hate that my mom and dad were giving it, my mom and dad loved it. My mom, she came out of it, she was crying. She was like, "That's so good." Like, she loved it so much. And like I told you, like it's peak. Like, the movie's peak, bro. It really does bring the spirit out of Michael. So now we get to May, and keep in mind this event happened in May. It was like May 2nd. So now we have May, and pretty much this was like the crunch time of all, where it was like the last full month of being in high school, being a senior, and a couple things to talk about here. You know, just trying to get your grades up. I mean, honestly, up to this point, I didn't really have any bad grades. I was kind of annoyed by some things because, like, pretty much throughout all of fourth quarter, I wasn't doing anything for math. I was just doing, like, plain old dumbass projects. And they were low-key annoying. And because, like, he would assign one, and then we would finish one, have to do another one. Finish one, and have to do another one. But the thing is, he didn't really care how we did it. As long as we, like, attempted to do some things on it, like, we would get the A. And I got 100 in his class, so it was fine. But I even decided to, like, try and support some of my friends, which I think for some of the friends that I made friends with but also got to support, I kind of did some new things. Like, I went to my friend's spring concert that they performed, which I honestly liked this event because I went with my friend, and, like, we were watching all the performances, which I didn't really know how a spring concert was going to be like, because I'm like, how does this kind of event work? And, you know, they were playing songs, and one of my friends performed, and I was like, yeah, she sings good. And then you also, you know, but what I really liked about it was that it didn't feel like it was being overshadowed by everyone else. Like, everybody was just having fun along the way. And that's kind of why I like these kinds of events. Why does someone have to be louder than everyone else? Like, I get it, you want to support your friends, but let us support them too. Let us hear ourselves. Like, come on. But that's not what happened. I loved that we actually got a cool, calm event, but was still pretty hype. And then we get, what was it? We then get my final Marine Club meeting, where we essentially had a party that day. And this was essentially my last B day at school, where I had a good B day and my final IEP meeting and all that cool stuff. And pretty much, like, the whole time, I was just having a good day. First period, got to play Uno with some friends for the last time. Second period, IEP meeting. Third period, I actually went to my final therapy session for school. And then guitar, I didn't do anything, but I actually did my final, because originally my final was going to be like a performance in front of the class, and it was like a group thing, and most of the groups weren't going to show up, so she just changed the final to like a few questions to answer. And I did them, got an A, and passed the class. So then we did my final Marine Club meeting party. Pretty fun. I kind of wish I could have taken some pictures, but then again, they didn't really take any pictures at the party. But it's fine. They still made posts about it on their Instagram, so pretty cool. And then we get to like the last final week of when seniors can actually be in school. And I only went 2 days that week because that week was testing for seniors, and because, you know, you can exempt and stuff. And I pretty much didn't have to do anything the week. Even the classes that I didn't exempt, they weren't having finals, so I didn't go for them. So the only days I went, which were Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday because they had the yearbook signing, and I got some pretty good signatures, got some cool stuff. I only brought the yearbook 2 days that week, and I didn't bring it after that just because why am I going to bring it? And I didn't think I was going to be allowed to bring it. I mean, not to say that, like, it's mandatory, you can't bring a yearbook, but why would I bring it, you know? So, yeah. But, you know, got some cool yearbook signings and all that stuff. And then you get Friday, which was the last day. It was early release, so that's kind of the reason why I went. But I also just wanted to say goodbye to everybody, you know, all my teachers, the ones there. Because I kind of already did that, like... I kind of already did that with my B-Day teachers, but my A-Day teachers, they were cool. Got to say goodbye to my math teacher. Well, he was at graduation, so it wasn't really a full goodbye. My English teacher, my keyboard teacher, and my drawing teacher, they were all cool. But this is the day that I wanted to try to see if I can go see my other teachers for my other grades. Can I go see my Spanish teacher and my English teacher? Now, I saw both of these teachers at different times. I saved my Spanish teacher for second period and my English teacher for my fourth period. And this was a great time to reform and come back to it. Oh man, this just brought me back to the good old days. Because when I came to my Spanish teacher's room, she was like, you know, the way she talks about things, it's like, you know, I was really, she called me a role model. She was like, I'm gonna be honest, it felt like the old days where she was just telling classic stories. She was talking a lot, but it worked so well. Even on the first day that I ever met her, I even told her that, like, I heard people say that you talk a lot. And it's definitely there. It's definitely noticeable. But then again, I also know you're just a teacher that likes your job. So that makes sense. And then, went to go see my English teacher. And, yeah, that was also a great experience. He was also just kind of updating me on his life and how has the school year been, and for all the stuff that, all the free opportunities for the games and stuff that he does in his class. Yeah, he was like telling me like nobody cared about it. Like, I'm just sitting here like, why? Like, this class is lame. Like, I swear, bro. Like, as you get throughout these like years and stuff, like some of these people just start to become really weird. Either they're just really wacky and crazy, or they just become so mature that they've lost fun anymore. Like, it's so weird. But then again, as for updating on his life, he's doing really good. Like, he said his house is effing beautiful, and now he's pulling women here and there. And I'm like, bro, this is so hilarious. Like, this brings me back to the good old days, man. I wish I was back there, man. Like, junior year was just so peak. Fifth period, oh my god, I missed that class so much. So then, after that, I basically left, and then I came back to the school at like 5 o'clock because we're doing the senior sunset. Now, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect from this hangout, or this event, because I didn't go, because it was basically like the alternate version, the nighttime version of Senior Sunrise. And I didn't go to that because I just didn't really care for it. And plus it was early on, like Labor Day, and I didn't really care to do it. But this one, I was like, I'm not going to miss out on this. It's also easier because it's not on a beach. It's at my football field in my school. So it's like, it's more manageable than being on a beach. So we went there, and it was fun. And like, once again, the friend from the birthday party that I had beef with, we were actually pretty cool. And he actually like talked to me a little bit. He dabbed me up. And like by the end, and it was like, I think we're kind of getting better. Not being best friends, but at least mutuals, having some respect for each other, and not just like treating you like an outsider. That's what I think made that a little bit better. So yeah, that was cool. But then also, going back to the friend I made in weight training, he also came along with my other friend too, and we were just having fun. Like, we were having fun. And we had fun laughs, but then also we went back to talking some serious stuff about, like, he was doing push-ups with me and my friends, and he was even guiding us on, like, how we should do push-ups. And I'm even thinking, like, a real friend would actually help you in how to do push-ups right. Fake friends would just, like, push you aside and be like, yeah, you're not doing it right, haha, and laugh it off and kick you to the curb or whatever. Alright, so I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. Okay, so yeah, overall, that was just a great hangout. And then, as for prom, I think I'm going to be honest. I think I'm done with all these dances and stuff. Prom was okay. Now, I can understand, like, if you are going to a dance for, like, the first time since, like, maybe middle school or something, or, like, elementary school, I would understand, like, this would be a cool, like, event for you, because you're celebrating with all your friends, and you've made a lot of accomplishments over the last year and the last 4 years, so it's definitely rewarding. But considering that I've gone to many different homecomings and all that stuff throughout the years, I just didn't care for this one. First off, the theming was just really off. It was supposed to be a night under the lanterns. They didn't have any sort of lanterns theme anywhere. It didn't even feel like Night Under the Lanterns. And then likewise, like, it didn't feel as big. Like, it did, like, also, like, the music they played, it was generic music that they play at every single homecoming. And it's like, you could have added, like, Michael Jackson or something. Like, you could have added, like, old school music that everybody likes. Like, not just the usual music that everybody listens to. Like, come on, that's so basic. Like, this is supposed to be the celebratory of class of 2026. And granted, I got some nice pictures. I didn't get pictures with everybody I wanted to do with, but, it was cool. I did hear a disturbing fact about something that happened there, but I'm not going to talk about what it was, but yeah. But then I just kind of got mad when I came home because I wanted prom to be something more, and I just didn't feel like I got it. But, cool thing is, when I made my prom post, it actually got some pretty good views, so I'm at least happy about that. So then, a few days go by, and I think on Monday I went to the movies to go see the movie Obsession. Talk about that in a minute. But also this was kind of a weird interference because I came across a friend of mine who was also going to the movies as well. And it was kind of awkward. And I don't know if we'll ever be on that same level of being best friends ever again. And it's like, why did we, like, grow apart? I get it, we're going to the same going to two different high schools, but it's like, we've been best friends. Like, what's the difference? Like, and what's crazy is the fact that his girlfriend is able to keep up with messages more, whereas him, he just doesn't, like, care at all. Like, he just doesn't, like, he never texted me on my birthday, and, like, I would try to keep in contact with him, but it's like, now, should I really be mad about that he didn't text me on my birthday? Yes and no. Because then again, it's like, not everybody's going to remember that. And, sometimes people say, if you didn't text me on my birthday, blocked. And honestly, maybe I should start doing that, because it's like, why, if you see me posting about my birthday, why don't you say happy birthday? Like, the phone works both ways. Now, I can actually understand if you are just passing by stories so you don't read them. But if you're doing that every time, then you need to get your mind checked out, because, like, come on. Because you need to stop lying and just tell the truth, that you don't care. So then, a few days go by, and we're down to, like, the last few things that we do for graduation, where we're doing graduation rehearsal, and then the next day we're going to get our cap and gowns. So we did that on Thursday and Friday. And honestly, I thought the graduation rehearsal was going to be very emotional, because it's like the last time we're going to do something like this for high school in class of 2026. And honestly, it wasn't. Even the songs they played was hype. So it was kind of cool. Then we get to, cap and gown. Got to talk to a few friends and stuff. And then we just went home and everything went fine. But then we had one more final event to close out 2026. Class of 2026. For my celebration, I had my graduation party, which, because prom was not as what I expected it to be, I didn't really know what the graduation party was going to be like, because my mom was like hiding the theme for months. Well, not months, but like she was hiding it for a while, and I didn't really know what it was going to be. Though I kind of had a feeling it was going to be Nemo themed or like ocean themed, and apparently it was. And I had a lot of fun with that. I also loved, she really went all out. She got all of our favorite foods that we loved. She got little figurines of like Nemo characters. She got pictures of me and my sister when we were kids. She even got like actual fish and fish tanks and like little fish bowls, and I'm like, oh yeah, this was genius. Like I love the creativity here. But then also, most of my family came. Got a few of my friends to come over. Not all of my best friends, and even my own sister's best friends that she grew up with in high school. They unfortunately didn't show up, but it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. I guess life just gets busy sometimes. But it was still very fun, still very enjoyable, still very entertaining. Absolutely enjoyed this day. So then the next few days goes by and we are, just kind of getting ready for graduation. I designed my cap. Let me show it. Hold up. I'm going to go find it. Wait. Oh, wait. It's not in my closet. It's here. So yeah, I had a weird way of how I wanted to do my cap. I was thinking, should I do it like just my favorite movie characters? But then I thought, what if I did it like a Hollywood Walk of Fame? I'm going to try to get the full frame here. Yeah, so you get the Hollywood star, and then you get basically my favorite characters, my name in the middle, Nicholas A. Montez. You'll never find out my middle name. But here you got Buzz on the top, my favorite character from Toy Story. Got Super Grover, Simba from Lion King, and then Kung Fu Panda from Poe, Kung Fu Panda. And then, of course, Spider-Man, but it's the pose in that fan-made poster that it came out for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So, yeah, lots of great stuff with that. So, really, really enjoyed making that. My sister helped out a lot, so thanks, sis. And then we finally get to graduation, and, yeah, this was a good but also kind of weird thing, because it's like, I thought this was going to be more emotional. Like, crossing the stage felt, like, weird, but also, it's like, after the whole ceremony was done, it's like, I got to pass by my friends, dab some of them up, got, like, the whole thing for my diploma and everything, and then after that, it's like, I want to go say hi to some friends, but, like, there were so many people that, like, I was forced to just kind of go home, and I was like, I get it, like, once we're out, like, they were kind of rushing us out, because, like, the more time you're in there, the more time they have to pay, and that's just kind of stupid. But I'm like, this is the last time that the class of 2026 gets to be together. Why can't we make this a special moment? But then again, like, it was kind of the same thing for everybody, because, like, not everybody got to say goodbye, but at the same time, it's like, when are you going to see these people again? Like, you're probably not. So, it's probably best that you get the best time you can in, but maybe some things aren't just meant to be. But, it is over. No, it's 4 weeks passed. So as for what I did the rest of that week, the next 2 days I kept myself busy going to the movies, hanging out with my friends. I hung out with my friends for his graduation party, which I thought would be bigger. Like, I thought family would be there and stuff, but it was just a few friends and stuff. And we had fun, but it was kind of boring a little bit. And then we went to the movies again to go see Scary Movie 6. Could have been way better, but it was still fun. And then the next week or so, I started to prepare for, I relaxed a little bit, but I was also getting ready to go continue the job coach thing, where I finally met with my new job coach, and I got a resume now, so I'm able to apply for jobs and see what jobs are out there. From what's been going on with that and the email stuff, I kind of got a little stressed out because I'm like, this is so new to me. I don't want to have to keep checking my email. It's like, it's kind of annoying, but it's simple enough. And you can just check the job of like what it is and how to apply for it and stuff. So I got better with doing that. But also it's like, some jobs have been hard to find to go to. But then it also depends if they choose you for an interview and stuff. And then the next day I also go to I went to the ice cream museum with my sister and her boss and her son, and that was fun. I really enjoyed that. And then that weekend I watched a few movies. Oh no, actually the day after I went to go to the movies with my friend to go to see The Furious, and then later on I went to go see Disclosure Day. That was a good day. Even though I did not get good sleep, I thought it was still a fun day. So then, the following week, I actually didn't do much. I was kind of in the house most of the time, but I still had a pretty fun week. I was still, developing stuff. And then I was, of course, also getting excited for Toy Story 5, which I've heard rave reviews for, and you already see my review. I'm not going to review it, but it's still very enjoyable. And then this week I also did the same thing, or last week I did the same thing a little bit, but I started off going to my orientation for college, which was not what I expected, but it was less stressful than I thought it was. So it's like, you don't have to be dependent on anyone else. You kind of just have to be independent on yourself, which is both good and bad, because like, I like to handle my own stuff, but then it's like, when a crisis comes, I actually have to handle it on my own, and I can't depend on anyone. So it's like, that's what kind of sucks. But I learned about, how to apply for, how to, register for classes and all that, how the campus works. They didn't do a campus tour for some reason, but oh well. And then the rest of the week was just kind of chill, going to the gym, having fun. I went to the movies to go see Supergirl, which my review for Supergirl will come out later today or tomorrow, something like that. Though I do have another video planned for tomorrow and possibly Thursday, but we'll see. We'll see. And as of right now, what am I doing? Just trying to have fun. I might be going to Disney in a few weeks, and the only reason I say I might is because I happen to get a job in the next week or so. I mean, obviously, I don't think I'll get a job immediately. I, of course, have to do the interview and all that stuff and, see if I can be counted as hiring. But then again, you never really know. But most definitely after, like, Disney and stuff, I will be hopefully being able to get a job. And that kind of sums up of how the first 6 months of 2026 has been. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and just talk about, I'm sorry. I wish I could have, like, talked more about other stuff, like, what are my thoughts on, like, high school in general, or, like, what are my thoughts on, like, the dances. There's probably not much need for it. I think it's more of just a friends conversation. Though I kind of did already post it on my Instagram, but it was, like, long ago. All right, so I'm gonna go through some of my New Year's resolutions that I did, and see what have I completed and what do I need to still accomplish. So first up, so New Year's resolution goals. So we have first one, getting ready to graduate. Already did that. Maintain grades. I have accomplished this. I know this. Go to prom. Did this, but it was an okay time. Senior sunset. Also massively achieved this. Senior brunch. Achieved this, but it was not for me. Register for college. I have done this. Cap and gown. Already did it, and I already have it. Senior photos plus physical copies. That I actually have done, and I'm so glad I was able to do it because I think I did it like the day before I went to go see Toy Story 5, and I was hoping I would have been able to do it like the week of graduation, but, you know, it did not come in time, but it's okay. It's okay. But we got it. And then we get to YouTube. So this is where so pretty much all the like school related stuff pretty much like all the school related stuff I pretty much have all accomplished. So story of film. Well, actually, no, so this is the YouTube stuff. So story of film. Actually, this is the series that I called the movies that raised me, which is, you know, the films of elementary, middle, high school, films I watched in school, films of class 2026 favorite films. Yeah, I accomplished this. Took a while, especially for the live stream that took 3 streams to do, but I still had a lot of fun rewatching some of these films and just having a lot of fun with it. Flamin' Takes. This one is kind of complicated because I think I overthink this way too much because I attempted to post a video of this matter in 2026 or in January for my Spider-Verse video. And yeah, that didn't turn out well because the video got blocked. Now, I do have a video essay thing that I will be probably posting tomorrow or Thursday, but I'm thinking of maybe doing video essays still, just probably not on the full extent that the way I originally had planned. So that's kind of how I envisioned it. So I'm gonna put a little check mark because I still think I can complete it. But as for for this month, for next month, I'll be doing like at least maybe 2 video essays, which I want to take more time. But I'm probably not going to use as many movie clips, so maybe it's just that. Decades. So this is like, it's not complete, but I actually am doing it pretty well, and so I've already done the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1950s. And I, of course, did the 1960s. And next month, we're going to get the 1970s. So this one's still in progress. And rewatching some of these movies was a blast, was a joy. Ultimate Cinema List. Still on the progress of that. I'm actually in the 90s right now. And tomorrow, I'm currently going to be watching Toy Story. The first Toy Story. So still a work in progress, but making there, and also watching a lot of cool cinema. History through movies. Wondering if this should be like a video tribute to movies. I think this probably will be, but I don't think it's going to be released this year. But if anything, I probably could do like a history through video. And that's kind of what the video essay of my video that I'll be doing on Thursday is going to be about. But we'll probably see what it's about. I'm going to put a to be determined. TBD. How to watch movies through the holidays. This will definitely be something that I'll be doing. I'm excited to do that one. This will be fun. So I'll be doing one only for Halloween, and I'll only be doing one for Halloween and Christmas. And I think by, when we get to Valentine's Day and Easter, Juneteenth, any kind of world holiday that kind of lasts like the entire week, but it's only mostly for one day, or really the entire month. Just depends if it's like, that kind of holiday. So I think I'll do that. But for the big sellers, it'll be Halloween and Christmas that kind of start that series, to know what movies do I watch, but also what movies or specials should you watch during those holiday seasons. So that one's still in the works. Then the big four, which is basically I cover the 4 big movies of the 4th years. So, for example, 1994, 2004, 2014, 2024. And that's going to start in September. And so I think 1994 will cover Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, and The Lion King. 2004 will cover Mean Girls, Shrek 2, The Incredibles, and Spider-Man 2. And then 2014 will cover Guardians of the Galaxy plus Captain America Winter Soldier, John Wick, Interstellar, and I guess you could also go Whiplash. I'm still debating on what film I kind of want to, what films I want to decipher from that year. And then 2024, The Wild Robot, Inside Out, Wicked, and Dune Part 2. So those were the 4 films. So 1984 will be in September. 2004 will be in October. 2014 will be in November, and then 2024 will be in December. So that's kind of the way I'm going to lay it out. And then 3 big tribute videos. So that's actually something that's going to be announced later this month, probably at the end of this month, where I'll be doing a live stream, kind of like a little event, explaining what kind of video tributes will I be doing that I'll be posting on Instagram. Now, I hope next year that I'll probably, if it goes well and if I make some announcements, I could probably make like a website for my videos. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because I don't really know how to, but also I want to see if it's profitable to have these videos with all these movies clips to be seen, and it could be a lot easier to where I don't have to just upload them to my Google Drive, because that's kind of how I've been showing them on my Instagram, through links. So we already have the Happily Ever After video out, the Gen Z video out. Now my next, and the other videos that I had planned were essentially the MCU video and the Disney video. So it just makes more sense if I announce it later, but those videos are not coming out this year. I'm taking a break from those tribute videos for now. So we got 1 video done, but the others, they're not going to come out this year because they take a lot of time to make. And I want to be really good with them. And now we have some real life goals. So we have working out more. I've done a good amount. I'm definitely getting a change in some stuff, though I have been eating a little bit much more than I could, but it's been better. Family time, but it's gonna be, more. Family time. I can definitely say I've been doing a lot better, kind of. I'll say it's still a work in progress. Summer hangout with friends. So I've kind of only done 1 hangout, but there is still time. There is still time for hangouts. But it is getting a little bit harder out here because, people are going to college and moving away, which is something that is kind of a sad realization that I'm kind of realizing now. And I'm even going to be busy my own self, but what can you really do, I'll put this a work in progress. Trying to get rid of, dirty thoughts. I am trying. It is a struggle, but, And then find something to do in boredom. Now, this is probably the biggest struggle for me that comes through with, summer, since I'm not really going to school. I'm not really doing anything besides just kind of being in my room most of the time. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to find something to do when you don't have anyone to talk to or do anything. So it's like, yeah, there is still plenty of summer left. So I'm gonna put this like, see, yeah, it's like, so yeah. So overall, for my school resolutions, I pretty much completed all of them. Do I really have any new goals for college? Honestly, it's just to stay on point with all my grades, maybe join a club and make some new friends. I'll put those three as the main ones. And then YouTube, of course, Flamin' Takes, well, Story of Film, Films That Raised Me, completed that. Flamin' Takes, still a work in progress, but I'm probably not going to go as excessive on it. Decade Films, still a work in progress because it's not finished yet. Ultimate Cinema List, still a work in progress because I am not finished with it yet. History Through Movies, still to be determined. I think that kind of video does feel necessary to kind of explore during this week because we're getting the new Minions movie and it's like exploring Hollywood and stuff. So, but it's probably not. But I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. How to watch movies through the holidays, still a work in progress. We'll talk about this in October and in December. The Big Four, still not yet to come out yet, but still excited for it. 3 big tribute videos. Got one release, but the other 2 not coming out this year. Real life stuff. Working out more. Yep. Still a work in progress, but I'm doing a lot better. Family time. Still a work in progress, even though these people annoy me so much, but still love ya. Summer hangout with friends. Okay, we'll make it work. I'm definitely making one happen by the end of summer. For Spider-Man, so that's one that's happening. Trying to get rid of sexual thoughts and all that stuff, dirty thoughts. It is a work in progress, but yeah. And then find something to do in boredom. Yeah, that's probably my biggest pet peeve is trying to find something to do in boredom, but whatever. So that's kind of my overall goals. Not lots to I accomplished a lot, but also there's plenty of stuff I still need to do, and yeah. And I can't really make any stuff for jobs or anything because I don't know exactly how that would be. So yeah, but before we end this stream, let's kind of break down my top 10 favorite movies of 2026. Sorry, it's just loading. I'm gonna try to restart this computer. Sorry, my computer's like being slow. Alright, so here are my top 10 favorite movies of 2026 thus far. So coming from number 10, I have Primate. So this is the new chimpanzee rabies movie. It's basically Cujo, but with a chimpanzee. I thought it was very good. And I thought it was just overall great. And it was much better than Cujo in my opinion. Better scares, just overall great. Number 9, Remarkably Bright Creatures. This was like a new movie with Sally Field and Lewis Pullman from Thunderbolts. I thought this movie was very well acted, told a very good story, and it was actually one of the better Netflix movies. 8, Hoppers, the latest Pixar film. One of Pixar's latest films, because the latest Pixar movie is actually Toy Story 5. But with Hoppers, I just thought it was a great movie. It was a great original film from Pixar. And also, it's like the animation style was kind of cool and the characters were fun. But also, it's like, it kind of added back that goofiness that I missed from Pixar back in the day. So, it was just overall very good. 7, Project Hail Mary. This movie, I don't love it as much as other people do, but I still do really enjoy it. I think it's a sci-fi movie that, like, it takes a while to get going because it's over 2 hours and 35 minutes. But it is very entertaining. You know, Ryan Gosling is very cool in this role, but also these characters, you know, his interaction with this rock guy, Rocky, it's fun. There's times where it can be funny and entertaining, but I think what made the movie work a little bit better for me is that my friend loves this movie. She loves Ryan Gosling and she loves space. And so, in many ways, we kind of gained a really good friendship based off that. 6, Goat, the new Sony animated film that was the first original movie to be released in theaters from Sony since, like, what? Into the Spider-Verse, I think? I can't remember. As for me, I loved this movie. I thought the animation was fantastic. I loved all the characters. And once again, it's doing a different kind of story with this animation style, but also doing with anthropomorphic animals wearing clothes in this human civilized world and making sports and basketball kind of cool. And I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. It was entertaining. And it's overall just a great Sony animated movie. I just loved it. We then have 5, Gone. Good luck, have fun, don't die. This is a new like sci-fi, AI time travel movie. I thought this movie was great. It was very well crafted. It's entertaining. It's kind of funny. Sam Rockwell plays a really good performance of playing this guy from the future. But also you get to explore all these other characters. But also, it's a very weird movie in the way it's all crafted. And it was a really interesting, like, film to watch in theaters, especially alone. So it's like, yeah, this movie was really cool. We then have number 4, Michael. I don't really understand the hate for this movie. I get that you probably wanted to see the allegations, or you wanted to see more behind the scenes of how Michael B. came up with the songs and the music videos and the dance numbers. But if I'm going to be honest, I think this movie handled Michael Jackson's story right. First off, Jafar Jackson's performance as Michael was awesome. I loved his giddiness. I loved his performance. But also, I loved like just showing what his life was like. That he was a child at heart. And he loved kids and he loved all this and stuff. And he had a creative mind. He loved movies. He loved all this stuff. And you see it all expressed throughout his whole story here. And overall, it is just so great. And honestly, I kind of would have loved it if it was longer. Like, I mean, I still love it, but I would have loved it if it was longer. I would have loved it even more if it was longer. 3, The Furious. This, in my opinion, is probably the best action movie of the last decade. Because literally, they created probably one of the best things that I've ever seen in action cinema ever. To where it's not just basic martial arts like you see in The Raid. What made this movie so great is the fact that the action that's happening, it's all done in interesting ways. Like, it's all about leaning and punching and kicking, but it's all doing it in very unique ways. And even then, the story's basic, but it's the way the action is done and the way it's done well. It's just so well crafted. So yeah, very well done action movie. 2, Send Help. Once again, another one of my favorite movies from this past year. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, this movie absolutely works well for me. It's a very gory movie. It's a very horrific film directed by Sam Raimi. But it's also very fun and entertaining and funny with Cody O'Brien and Rachel McAdams. They're great. They have great chemistry on screen. Whether they hate each other or they kind of like each other for a little bit, even if they're faking it. It's all really cool stuff. Love this movie. But my favorite film of the year has to go to Obsession. This is a film made by a 26-year-old Curry Barker, who essentially, I feel like as soon as I saw this movie, I was like, yeah, this is easily the best movie of 2026 so far. The fact that they were able to create a horror content that I feel like anyone could come up with, and they made something that was so palpable. The fact that, you know, they have this guy who wants a girl to like him, and you just have this great performance by Ina Navardi. I don't even know how to say her name. But the actress in here, great performance. I really hope she does win an Oscar next year. And then, like, just as the film progresses, it gets even creepier. But then at the same time, the way you think of it psychologically, it creates all these different scenarios to where you kind of think and it makes you talk about the movie. It's like, it's such an interesting movie, the way they crafted it. And the fact that Curry Barker is currently still working on other movies inside of the Obsession universe, the fact that this is going to be a universe, that's so intriguing. That's great filmmaking, and I love that this is kind of one of the few films that is like pushing the way that Gen Z and these filmmakers, us as filmmakers, can be the next great Steven Spielberg or the next great George Romero or the next great John Carpenter. Of course, I don't expect Gen Z to just stay in the horror side of things forever, because I want them to dive into other areas of filmmaking. Like, what about doing an action movie or doing a romance or doing other things? Don't just do horror, because not everybody likes horror. And I think, you know, for me, I want to see a cool action movie. So there's got to be someone out there that can bring my kind of action style to life, which could be me. You never know. But overall, that is my top 10 favorite films of 2026 thus far. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be posting 3 more videos later this week. Well, yeah, 3 more videos. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.